This last demo is intended to show the integration of the supply scenario concept with switch documents. The switch document is the object used to control and document the change of supplier process. The statuses of the change of supply process, the related activities, and the received or sent messages are recorded in the switch document. You can update switch document in all use cases I have shown. This means create or change a supply scenario, shift a supply scenario, end a supply scenario, and continue a supply scenario. In this demo, I will update a switch document during the supply scenario change. As explained in the introduction, when you start a supply scenario process, the system analyzes the supply scenario action or actions you want to execute. The possible actions are create, change, reverse, shift, end, or continue a supply scenario. Moreover, the system analyzes which objects are impacted by those supply scenario actions. Once you process the supply scenario, the switch document needs to be updated. Switch documents are updated with switch document activities rather than supply scenario actions. Therefore, supply scenario actions need to be mapped with switch document activities in the customizing. Each supply scenario action corresponds to one switch document activity. Once the supply scenario process is completed, the switch document is updated with the switch document activities, each of them corresponding to a supply scenario action. Each activity receives a status which can be success or failure. As practical example, I will show what happens to a switch document if I change a single contract model supply situation to a dual contract model supply situation. Let's move to the system. As starting point, I need a point of delivery. Let's have a quick look to the POD I will use during this demo. In order to display the POD, I enter transaction EEDM11 display POD. I select the POD. To do this, I click on the POD tab in Select Object part of the screen. I enter the POD ID. The POD that will be used in this demo is called ttrade4. The POD will be displayed below. I double click on it. The POD is displayed on the right side of the screen. The interesting data for the purpose of this demo is located in the Supply Scenario tab. The Supply Scenario 10 is valid as of the 1st of January 2014 for this POD. This means that I am in a single contract model. To show how to update a switch document, I will take the switch document already created for this POD. Let's display this switch document. I enter transaction ESWTMON01 in the command field to display the monitoring transaction of switch documents. In the selection screen of the monitoring transaction, I enter my POD ID ttrade4 and then execute the report. The report provides me one switch document. I click the switch document number in order to display it. As you can see, Supply Scenario 10 for single contract model is applied to the POD. This document shows a change of supplier. Former supplier SUPP1_E has been changed to the new supplier SUPP2_E. Please also note the activities 11, 100, and 303. Those activities have been generated during the creation of the switch document and are not related to the supply scenario process. As a reminder, the supply scenario activities are defined from Z1 to Z6. Let's now update my POD with supply scenario 20. This supply scenario has been created to build up a dual contract model. In order to do this, I need to go to the Customer Interaction Center. Let's fill in CICO in the command field. I'm in the Customer Interaction Center. As already mentioned, supply scenario processes are in the Deregulation tab. Let's click on it. I have built one process called Update Switch Document. Let's click on it. If you compare with the first two demos regarding respectively the single and dual contract model, I get almost the same selection screen. Only one field has been added, which is the switch document number field. Let's fill in data. I will use business partner 292 and POD T-Trade4. The new supply scenario will start on the 1st of February 2014 and will be supply scenario 20 for dual contract model. I also enter the reference of the switch document related to POD ID T-Trade4. I execute. I enter the internal supplier managed in my own system. This is supplier SUPP_EL. I execute. In this selection screen, I have to enter some parameters for the supply installation. I enter rate category E1, meter reading unit annual, and billing class 0001, and I execute. It's time to enter some parameters for the distribution installation. A distribution installation was already existing in supplier scenario 10. I change meter reading unit from annual to month. This will have an impact on the switch document. I execute. I enter the payment class 0001 in the last selection screen. This has little importance in this demo. I execute. My billable contract and my two non-billable contracts from supply scenario 10 are ended. One installation for the supply of energy has been created and my existing installation for distribution has been changed due to the meter reading unit I have changed. Besides this, two billable contracts have been created for the supply and distribution of energy and one non-billable contract has been created for the settlement coordination. A dual contract model has been applied to POD T-Trade4 thanks to supply scenario 20. Let's now have a look to the switch document. Again, I call transaction code ESWT-MON01 and I enter POD ID T-Trade4. I get one record. Let's click on it. Let's check the activities. As you can see, I get activity Z1 for the creation of one additional installation. This is the supply installation. I get also activity Z1 for the creation of two new billable contracts and one non-billable contract. I get also activity Z2 for the change of the distribution installation. I finally get activity Z5 for the end of the billable contract and two non-billable services applicable in the former supply situation 10. As you can see, the switch document has been updated with all the changes done during the supply scenario process. Besides this, you can also see the status. Status 01 has been defined for success and status 02 has been defined for failure. In this example, I only got status 01, which means everything went well. Let's quickly go back to the presentation. Let's check the different activities that have occurred in the switch document during the demo. There are activity Z1 for the creation of an installation, two contracts and one non-billable service. Activity Z2 for the change of the distribution installation. And activity Z5 for the end of one billable contract and two non-billable contracts applicable in supply scenario 10. This demonstrates that what has been built in the system fits with our theoretical model. This ends the demo related to the update of switch documents. Thank you for your attention.